Loops allow us to repeat actions. Loops allow us to repeat actions. Loops allow us to repeat actions. So instead of having 5 lines where we're basically saying each one of those numbers squared is, and whatever the value is, something like this, we could do a for loop where we are looping over for num in, and we'll create a range of numbers starting at 1, ending at 6. 6 here is exclusive, so it's not included in the list of numbers we're going to be looping over. For each one of those, I want you to print whatever the number is, squared is, and then we do num exponentiation operator and 2. So now if I actually comment these out, and I'll do the control slash, if you're on a Mac that would be the command slash, and if we execute this, we should get exactly the same results. How do I know it's not the same? Let me change this to maybe 10, and we run it, and we should get all the numbers from 1 through 9. So a range of 1 to 10 does not include that last argument in this range. We could also loop over arrays. So let's say you have an array of names, and the names are Maryam and Yahya, and let's say Sarah. And here I'm going to have a for loop for each index. We'll call the index X right now, in the range of starting 1, ending with names dot length, or the length of the array, plus 1. And I'm gonna say, all right, I want you to print out the names at the index of X. Let's see what that looks like. Well, actually, let me take this whole snippet of code and put it in a separate cell, just so we don't have to see both numbers and names. If I run this, we get an error. Let's see what it is. Unsupported operand type. Oh, what I actually meant to do here was to do the length of names plus 1. Now let's try this. Still doesn't work. So because arrays in Pythons are actually 0 based, meaning that the first number is 0, not 1, we were going out of range when we were looping over this array. So we'll do it one more time and run it. We are still going over by 1, so let me just remove that extra plus 1 that I have. One more time, and here we go. We are able to print out the names. Now that was a tedious process. The reason why I messed it up so much is that that's not how the way we actually do it. The right way to do this is, let me go ahead and create a new cell. I'll copy the same array of names, or actually we can keep it. I'll just go over here. We'll do for name in names, print out the name. Much simpler. This is the way it's done. We do not need to actually figure out what is the index or how many items in the array there is. All we need to say, here's an array, I'm looping over all the names, and for each name in this array, I want you to go ahead and print it out. Now let's do one more example of looping for a different purpose. Let's say I have an array of numbers or scores. These scores are 87, 92, 78, and 94, and I want to print out the total. So I actually want to compute the total of all of those numbers in an array. So I'm going to do for number in scores, or to be more explicit, I'll call this for score in scores. We will update the total with the augmented assignment operator. So plus equal whatever the number of the score is. Now, once we're done with the loop, we go back in the indentation so that we can print out a formatted string that says the total equals curly bracket, and we will inject in our total number here. We also are able to provide an average by basically dividing that total by the number of items in this array. So I can add, and the average is whatever the total is, divided by the length of the array, which was called scores. So if I run this cell one more time, this is what we get. Another form of loops are while loops, which, as I'm thinking about this right now, I don't think I've actually used them all that often. But the way they work is something like this, where you basically have a condition, and for as long as that condition is being met, you are entering inside the suite of the code, or the block that you're trying to execute. So in this particular case here, where we have a variable that has the number 5, and we're saying for as long as the count is more than 0, we want you to print out that number, and then we want you to reduce that number using the augmented assignment value here. Once you're done, we want you to print out blast off, and let me just add a rocket for the fun of it. If I save that and execute this code, basically we get 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and blast off.